Hi again. Here's a not so subtle reminder of what I think of mind, or a suggestion on how best to get along with it. Okay, this one is 312, first one of the day. Mayan day was 6 wisdom. Well, here it is, some crazy time in the morning, yet again. And I come to the journal with such a full heart. More and more, I am just filled with what? Well, with the Spirit, I guess. Maybe this is that, but heck, I don't know. It just is, and I am joyously filled with it. I am grateful. How identified are you with your ideas and beliefs? If someone really disagrees with one of them, what will you do? How will you feel? Tonight, I'm just finishing up losing an internet friend over her attachment to her ideas. She holds very tightly to certain political beliefs, and forgetting that, I copied her on an email that expressed some beliefs pretty well opposite to hers. Oh my goodness, what a response! It is interesting watching the self go through this. It is interesting to see how detached, how stepped back I am, how calm as I respond to her. At first, I just deleted her response to me, figuring no answer was better than engaging her harsh words. Then Spirit brought me back later, giving me the words to put on the page, so I did. We had an exchange, about 6 back and forths. And I feel good about that. I was able both to express love for her and her beliefs, as well as to remind her that we had been friends and I was not the enemy. Sometimes dear people need gentle reminding. They forget in the heat of feeling their beliefs attacked. Now, this is good for me to see both her side and mine acting out in the dance. And that's what life really is, as we are discovering while we wake up. Oh, what a joy this is to be able to be in the midst of this outwardly difficult exchange, yet to be in such peace within. What a real blessing. I do hope something of my vibration, my heart, was able to pass over and into her heart. I left her with blessings, deleting her from my contact list as she had asked. Now, I am not lily white in this. There are no doubt beliefs I still harbor, all unaware, that could be triggered in a similar way. You know, the fun is not in being perfect. The fun is in the journey itself. Don't you see? We never arrive. Each step on the road we take, therein lies the fun. As you know, in my journals, I'm processing my own stuff. So I am so grateful to so soon be able to take my own advice that I recently gave to enjoy even the tough bits when they arrive. Oh, my friends, how I wish I could just give you this joy in my heart these days. It gets more and more intense. We're not talking bliss or something that takes me out of a functional state, not at all. I'm quite functional, just also quite happy of late. I haven't checked my astrology, but I'm familiar with how powerful an effect things in the heavens can have or trigger. For instance, lately Jupiter and Venus are so close in the sky they can be seen. They shine brightly at night. On the 13th, it is said that they are so close, within 3 degrees. It's been a long time, and it will be another long time before they're so close again. Both benefics, as they're called, together so close. The malefics, by the way, are Mars and Saturn. Such things can have an effect. It's funny the way we look for causes, for reasons for things, isn't it? That's mostly just mind, and maybe completely, but I'm not so sure. Heart knows how to connect things, how to weigh them as well. How to maintain balance is a thing of wisdom, which can make use of the mind. So, what have I to share here? Is it only this, that I'm feeling so great? Surely not. Well, nothing else seems to come, so let me close with a little note about gratitude. There's such a thing as a much higher level of gratitude. I don't know yet if it's one of the divine attributes. I have that question in to source. I dropped it in heart since it seems that it requires both a subject and an object, a thanker and a thankee. Now, I don't know if that's the case, that it's not a divine attribute, for source is one without a second in every instance that I've experienced. I was once taken up so very high in a prayer meditation experience that I was hardly tied to the body. I still remember that, how it felt. I remember too my heart beginning to offer its thanks, and what happened then. As I did that, I began to descend literally, and to descend in consciousness as well. So I stopped. I stopped and thought, And as I did, I rose back up. Parenthetically, I was situated somewhere way above the body's head. The meditation continued. My heart simply soared, and the thanksgiving rose up again. What happened? Well, you probably guessed it. Back down, I started to sink. I was quicker this time, or maybe it was 2 or 3 times. I was so high to stop giving thanks. It was the second or third time when it clicked just what was happening. As I rose back up again, when my thanksgiving ceased, I put 2 and 2 together. And this is what I saw. As we are enraptured, taken up to be with Source in our joy of prayer or meditation, we can be in a very high state of vibration indeed. We are in oneness, not two, but one. What was happening was that as I was offering thanks, I was having to separate out into two, one to give thanks, one to receive. This violated the sacred state I was in, literally bringing me down out of it. So this was how I learned not to give thanks when taken up that way. It was very strange back then, but an experience like this is a much better teacher than 10,000 books. Direct experience is something you just don't forget. So you tell me, my friends, since my heart swells in gratitude, a gratitude that feels divine so often, I don't know about whether this is a divine attribute or not. I know that thanksgiving is not, for it violates the oneness state. I can promise you that, but you don't need me to, since it is obvious. Yet, what about gratitude, please? The kind that feels like a heart so full it could burst with joy and light. There's an exuberance there that I imagine is what makes the sun shine. It's not that it's directed to anyone or anything, even source. It's just an excess of real joy that must express. Sometimes it comes out as singing, often as tears, and often as uplifting prayer. So tell me, friends, what is your experience? What do you think? Is there a gratitude that does not violate the divine oneness? I'd be happy to know. We can learn and pick up so much from each other. None of us could possibly walk all the miles on all the roads that our brothers and sisters have walked. We each walk them for one another, so we can all come back to the divine table, back home to our heavenly family, each other, and give our report of our experience. Only when we share in those higher dimensions, we share the whole experience. We get to feel the whole thing in our brother's moccasins, not our own. It is so awesome. so much more than mere telepathy. The closest thing, once again, is found in people's near-death experiences, their NDEs. It's not so much in the life review, though it does happen there. I guess the best place I've found this expressed is by Dr. Michael Newton in one of his books. I think it was Destiny of Souls, for which I have the audio book. He describes a father and a son who had one hell of a lifetime together. Dad was a drunk who mercilessly beat his son regularly. It was a terrible and a painful relationship that wasn't healed while they were on earth. Then came the time when the son died. Dad had crossed over long ago. This was not an NDE, since Dr. Newton's work is with people in the between lifetime state. So these are real deaths. He takes the people through the death experience for their previous life. So the son was joyfully greeted by his whole family, quite a crowd gathering around. And he felt, but didn't see, someone hanging back behind the others, not being seen. This later turned out to be Dad. Yeah, the abusive one. Now, the son, first of all, was a bit surprised to see how wonderful his father looked. He looked bright and much younger, as we generally do on the other side. The dad was a bit sheepish, fully aware that he hadn't been the best dad to his son. They gingerly spoke and shared. At some point, I think either during the life review or perhaps later with their guides, I don't remember, they did a very special sort of sharing. Dr. Newton explained that, especially in cases where there was such terrible pain in a relationship, so much misunderstanding and even abuse, that this special way of sharing is often taken. Now, if you don't mind me expressing it this way, it's rather like a Vulcan mind meld, a la Spock on Star Trek. It was 100% total exchange of all thoughts, feelings, understandings, and absolutely everything that they were in that life. So each one could examine literally at first hand how the other had felt and reacted and why. They could see why that had come about from the other guy's eyes. What could be more priceless, more powerful than that? I can hardly imagine. And it illustrates treat your brother as yourself. I like to say, for your brother is yourself. Anyway, that is the sort of sharing I'm about ready for. We won't do this with everyone, of course, but when we desire real intimacy, to really get to know someone, it would be so very grand to have something like this available. Wow, we could really share and be understood then. Can you imagine? I'm putting this into my new world that I envision sometimes when using my creative vision energies. Let's all remember and remind one another that we really are creators. We really can and do change this world. Sure, it will be 1,000 times easier and quicker in the next one, but meanwhile, what about this one that's such a mess here? Let's all do the creative visualization that uses our powerful gaze, our ray of attention, to build our own chosen paradise. This is no joke, and it's no useless exercise either. No spinning our wheels. My sense is that come the time of the final shift, if there's a moment when it finally clicks in, that we'll be getting what we've created for ourselves. What we will enter is the direct harvest of our lovely garden of belief. All the loving energy we've put into our gardening, into our meditation and prayer, will be manifest in the flesh there. We are the author of our own fate. So you can have two people side by side who won't be entering the same world, and that's cuddles. So See to what you create with thought and vision, my friends. It's no idle pastime. Vision is key, and so are you, Divine One. Let's help each other in our return to paradise, one much better than it's ever been for anyone, anywhere. Together we can do this. We have our youth, those 30 and under roughly, who have such power to visualize and simply to do. They're lightning fast. I'm so glad to be on earth this day with simply all of you. You are so wonderful, my friends. Sure, we're kind of crazy to come down here into this thing, but hey, our hearts are so moved by all the cries we heard coming from here, all the unfairness, the way the cards were stacked against the innocent. We just had to appear. So now we're here, and we forgot too. Well, let's make the very best of it meanwhile, giving it all the joy our hearts can produce. And that's some serious joy.